Hello and welcome to South Bay Sports Radio. Here's your host, Nick Ingram.
Our next guest is one of the most accomplished high school basketball coaches in California, a four-time Los Angeles City Section champion, four-time CIF Southern Section champion, and a two-time CIF State champion with over 900 wins. From Fairfax to Rolling Hills Prep on the San Pedro campus, his impact goes far beyond the scoreboard. Rolling Hills Prep head coach Harvey Kitani joins South Bay Sports Radio. Coach, thank you very much for joining me.
Well, thank you, Nick, for having me on, and appreciate all you do for the basketball community as well.
All right, Coach, let's start at the beginning. Where did your passion for basketball come from, and when did coaching become an occupation for you?
Well, you're growing up playing in the parks and recs, and that was pretty much it. And we played all different sports, and whatever season was in, that's the one that you really enjoyed. And I think as far as getting into coaching, it was during my years at Long Beach State where, I had a friend who was going to go into coaching, and I used to get a ride with him to school, and we often spoke, and that's how I kind of started thinking about something that I might want to do, as a career.
Looking back, what were some of the most important lessons from your early coaching years that still shape how you lead teams today?
Well, I think, growing up, my father held myself and my two brothers accountable and for everything that we did. And he was a person that, had a hard life, during his time, and but yet he demanded that, we try to do the right thing. So consequently, that thinking is so important in developing, athletes and students in general, and just growing up. And so, we try to hold everyone accountable as much as we can for everything, and understand at the end of the day that if you can follow that thought in mind, good things will happen for you.
One of the first stops on your coaching journey was Fairfax High, a program with a deep city section history. What was it like stepping into that environment?
Well, when I got there, obviously there was a little transition where, you want to build your culture, your DNA, and so it took time, and things don't happen overnight. And so gradually, you get people understanding what's going on with your program, and if that's something that is appealing to the family, to the parents, that there's going to be direction, guidance in terms of not only basketball, but just watching the kids as as a person that sees the kids often more than the parents do, because you're with the kids from 7 o'clock in the morning till like 6 o'clock at night.
How did coaching at Fairfax prepare you for handling pressure, expectations, and those big moments you found yourself in?
Well, you play year after year in so many games, and you're trying to prepare for that type of game environment, and so you learn. You're fortunately, as a coach, you get to keep doing it over and over, and the players, they only get that one season, and so you try to learn from all the things that take place, and you try to look at yourself in the mirror and see what you could have done differently to make the situation better, improve the situation, and be able to help the players and the teams that you still get to keep coaching year after year, the new kids.
Are there any games, seasons, or players from that tenure at Fairfax that really stand out to you as you look back at it?
There's a lot of games that I reflect. We would go to Hawaii for a national tournament. We went 15 times, and we knocked off some pretty good teams. We knocked off the number one team in the country in Montrose Christian with Kevin Durant. They had another kid who went to Miami with the Heat, so two pro players. You didn't really understand the impact of that until years and years and years and years later, when social media comes into play and you hear about those things and you go, wow, that's pretty good. But we got to experience that. And then obviously all the battles with Westchester, all those years you play them twice in league, you play them for the city title, and then you meet them again in the state. And some years we're in the same tournament, so we play each other 5 times. And very often they might have been the number 1 or 2 team in the state. And so, and there's other games too, And so it's just, when I think back, great memories. And I know that the players who were able to participate in those games too, when I see them, we all talk about those games.
I know we've talked about this, but what ultimately went into your decision to take on the head coaching role at Rolling Hills Prep, and what about the program appealed to you?
Well, it was a school that my 2 kids went to, and so I saw the richness in the academic arena, where with the class sizes, the student gets like their own tutor every day. And then I knew the athletic director that gave me the opportunity, Brian Negan, who built such a great sports program here during his tenure. So our relationship made it to where, when I was able to retire from the public school system, that I was able to come over here and continue coaching. And also the fact that, it's only like 10-15 minute drive from my house, where before going to Fairfax was a 2.5 hour commute every day.
It's definitely a big change. So
Yeah.
when you took over at Rolling Hills Prep, what was the first thing you wanted to implement within the program?
Well, that we want to compete, and we want to play the game correctly, play hard. We want to do well, and we want to improve, but we want to get the kids to think that if they have any kind of opportunity to go to college through basketball, that they will be given that opportunity by the process, of learning how to play the game correctly and stay away from losing stuff, losing activities that could prevent you from moving on. And we were fortunate that when I got here the first year, we had a few kids that came in as incoming 9th graders, and they turned out to be very good players. So, that family DNA has still continued. The most valuable people in our program these 10 years now that I've been here have been the parents, because they support the program. They think about the other kids. And so often, you get people just wanting their own thing and not caring about the village. So the parents have been great, and our village has been tremendous here.
How have you seen the program evolve during your time at Rolling Hills Prep?
I think the student athletes that we get that come out for basketball, they know what is going on in terms of learning and trying to work hard and combine the academics with the basketball. They buy into that concept of working hard and striving for perfection. I see the kids after the 4th year, 3rd year, that they're pretty darn good players, and we're able to compete against a lot of the good teams that are out there.
How would you describe your coaching philosophy, and how has it changed over the years from your first year to this current year?
Well, as far as the game itself with the defense and the offense, it's still the same. You try to play good man-to-man defense and try to recognize all the things that the opponent might be trying to do, and that part has changed a little bit. But you have to keep improving, and same with the offense, is that you try to play good team ball and stay away from losing plays on offense, or where you only have a 25-30% chance of successful offense, as opposed to 50 or 60% opportunities of making the right play and good play. I think that I've gotten better at holding the kids accountable and communicating with them to make them understand that taking them out of a game or trying to correct them, that they understand where I'm coming from. So that communication part, I think, has over the years of doing it over and over and over, it has improved. I think also just understanding each child a little bit better and getting to really get inside them in their mind and seeing what if there's any roadblocks, what kind of roadblocks is it, and try to work together and correcting that so learning could take place. So consequently, I think the kids are learning and understanding, and that's what makes it fun.
What are some of the non-negotiables for a Harvey Kitani coach team, whether it's practice or game night?
Well, it's when you're just thinking about yourself, on a given play, on a situation where maybe you're not getting to play a lot, and you're not, you often the player thinks, and they're doing it for different reasons, but the main reason and the main people that are getting hurt by a player doing those kinds of things is their teammate, and I always tell our guys that it's like you got 3-4 guys you hang out with, and one guy is always miserable because he doesn't get his way, and he makes it no fun for the other 3 friends. And playing basketball, it's no different. You got 12 guys on the team and 3 guys on the team are selfish, then it's no fun for the other 9. And so we talk about that a little bit more, and we vote, and the kids see each other, and if there's something that's going on that non-negotiable, I ask them, I go, am I right? And they all raise their hand, and then we look at the guy we're talking about, and he sees it. And so anyway, it's just constant growth in the process for the players.
All right. You've coached in some big games, especially over the last couple of years. Like I said, 4 CIF titles at Rolling Hills Prep, 2 state titles. How do you approach preparing players mentally for those big moments?
Well, it was funny because the first year here at Prep, we were in Division 5, and we ended up winning the state and going to Sacramento. And as we're making our playoff run, and then we win the CIF title, and then we go to state, and then we end up winning that, the SoCal, and then we're going to Sacramento. And a videographer said to me, your team is never happy after they win these big games. And I said, well, it's because, I'm used to high caliber basketball. And even though we were winning, we weren't playing real good basketball to in the scope of what good basketball is, and we were still able to win some close games leading up to it, and we were thankful. But it's constant correction. So that's the mantra that we've accepted here, is that even though you might win, you got to keep preparing for the next one, and the old, you win with humility and be humble about it, or else the minute you don't, it's going to come get you. So often that's what takes place at every level. You gotta just keep that fire going.
This may be tough, but how do you balance accountability and freedom, especially with high school players who some of them are still learning the ins and outs of basketball?
Yeah. If it's um and here's the thing, as long as the kid is coachable, okay, and by that I mean, if you get a coachable kid and he makes a mistake and that type of thing, and you're correcting it, it's gonna improve. But if you got a kid who's not coachable and he's always blaming people and stuff, he's not going to learn. So accountability for that person is a little shorter leash than the kid who is got a good attitude, and he doesn't have that accountability issue, because he wants accountability. He wants to improve. He wants to reach his goals, and he understands that. You try to be fair, but everyone is different, and at the end of the day, you in any aspect of work, if you got good workers, they get a little extra leeway. You got people that can't even get to work on time. These guys are on a short leash, and so um, uh, we've kind of adopted that, and um, again, I get to keep doing it over and over and learn and learn and learn. And so you try to correct and make it better for the players for the future.
When your players graduate from Rolling Hills Prep and move on to their next journey, what do you hope they remember most about playing for you?
Well, that you come every day wearing your hard hat. You try to work hard. You try to uh, do the good things, do the right things. You hear all these legendary people with not only in athletics but just in education and in the workforce about trying to do well every day. John Wooden would say the old masterpiece, make every day a masterpiece, and there's absolute truth to that. All of us as human beings, if we do that, at the end of the day, you kind of feel good, and that's pride. Pride is something that money, no matter how much money you got, you can't buy pride. You got to earn pride. That's just the way it is in life. And so, those are things that you hope that the kids later on, and then you hear from them, they come back and they're in college, or their parents will stop by and say, oh, this was happening. And they remembered about something that happened here at school. And that might have inspired them or helped them through that difficult time. And so, we're all part of the village. Nick, you're part of the village too, and the good people in the village are trying to help for the same common cause,
Thank you. You've seen some amazing players over your tenure, both at Fairfax and at Rolling Hills Prep. Currently, you have a former player playing at Stanford. He was a walk-on, Benny Gieler. You've
Yeah.
currently got one of the best inside players in California in Nick Welch. But how fun is it to watch these players from when you first get them at your first practice until I look forward to watching you down the road. How fun is that journey for you?
It's up there. It just makes all of us here at school and the coaching staff feel so good that kid Benny has gone on, and we've had others that go on. We just hope that some of the stuff that we might have done has helped them along that process. And yeah, it's a great feeling to know that maybe some of the stuff that you were able to help the kid out with was the right thing, and so very thankful.
All right, Coach, your current team as of today is December 11th. You're currently 10-0 overall. What have been some keys to the success so far this season, not just from during the games, but what you're seeing on the other days in the off season and leading up to games?
Well, the process takes time. And so we have our two senior starters, our 4-year men, Kavika Suter and Gio Tubbs. And then our third person who might be the best player on the team, Nick Welch Jr., is a third-year man. And so when you got guys that have been around and they've grown and learned and understand, and they're turning into pretty good leaders that are going to help our other players. So, we started this journey back in March when our season ended last year, and in a heartbreaking game to Los Alamitos, who ended up winning the whole thing. And we got better from the springtime and the summer, and then the summer we played in some very tough events, and then school started and we're better than we were in the summer, and then we played some fall stuff and we're better than we were then. So the message is that we have to keep improving every day, and that's the beauty of that. We can do that, and if we can't improve anymore, then you need to really be concerned. As people, every day we can get better, no matter how old you are, and so basketball is no different.
All right, Coach, that's going to wrap our serious part of the interview. Well, I'm going to transfer it into rapid fire. I've got 4 questions for you, 2 about
All right.
basketball and two about you. So let's begin. Your top 3 all-time favorite basketball players.
I would say this is okay. We'll go Michael Jordan, um, Larry Bird, and Magic Johnson. There we go.
3 of the greats. All right, your favorite basketball movies.
Well, the first date that I went on with my wife, I took her to I was at Fairfax, and back then they would call and say, "Hey, we got a movie you want to come check out," and stuff like that, to our school, and it happened to be Hoosiers. Okay, but years later, I was in Indiana, and coaching the Big Ten All Stars against the Indiana All Stars, and we were there for like a week. And they were getting ready to start making that movie Blue Chips. So Billy Friedkin and Nick, the actor, I can't even think of his name right
Nick
now.
Nolte.
Nolte. Yeah. They hung out with us for 1 week. And so we ate, and they came to practice, and, that whole scene. And so we get back to LA, and then Billy Friedkin has asked if I want to be in the movie. And so anyway, I was on the bench as one of the assistant coaches for Nick Nolte in a scene at the sports arena. So I would have to say those 2.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that movie now.
Yeah. Well, it's when they're in the cave watching, and when they're thinking that one guy was throwing the game, and so they're watching the film, and so I'm sitting on the bench. I think Mark Johnson was one of the assistants too.
Interesting. All right, Coach. A movie's being made about your life. Who plays Harvey Kitani?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not into actors and that kind of stuff. So, God. Uh, well, let's say the Hoosier guy, Gene Hackman.
Deal, Mr. Hackman. All right, last one. Your go-to South Bay eatery and your favorite dish there.
Um, I'd have to say the San Franciscan.
What
And
do
I
you
like
get when you go to this?
I like the culotte. Well, it's either the culotte steak or the obviously the prime rib. Both are good.
There we go. Coach, thank you very much for your time. I look forward to seeing you in the future. Good luck to the Huskies down the line.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you very much.